$8.2 million over the past 180 days. This is what me and my whole portfolio have been spending on Meta ads. This is Meta ads only. Google ads, it's another couple million. That's for another video. In this video, like, why am I sharing this with you? Not to brag or anything like this. I literally started from nothing. I had no idea how to run e-commerce ads a couple of years back, and pretty much self-taught a lot of stuff, right? And also was very, very grateful to have learned from a lot of great names, a lot of great people along the years. But what I want to share with you today is actually stuff that people don't really talk about when they talk about ads, right? They talk about, oh, this return on ad spend, and this is so great, and whatever. You only hear about the flashy side of things, but you don't really hear about what actually moved the needle, right? So there's a, let's say, disconnect between what is being advocated and propagated as this is why it was working, because we are such magicians, whatever, like all these agencies that you hear out there, also gurus, whatever the case may be. And then on the other side, there's the stuff that they actually did that maybe is not so sexy to advertise, but that's what they actually did, and this is what led to results. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to share with you what actually helped all of us, like all the brands that I mentor, and also including my own brands, obviously, to scale. Okay, so let's start off with actually, a big misconception that I see is that there's a lot of focus on the ad account, right? Still to this day, which, kind of like, it's mind boggling, honestly. It's mind boggling. I think more and more people understand it, right? That it's not just about the ads manager. There are, great other people also here on YouTube that share this like for years, right? Like Charlie Tichinor, for example. Shout out to Charlie. I had the opportunity to learn from him also at some point. So, that essentially it's not about the stuff that you see in the ad account, right? You have to really, like, the real work gets done outside of the ad account, right? And this is always the case. The ad account is the tool that you use to put the stuff together, to be able to advertise on Meta, to analyze some stuff, obviously, do some optimizations, do your budget allocations, whatever the case may be. But this is never a substitute for doing the real work. Now, what is the real work, you might ask? The real work is and always will be. That's why this is why I teach that, right? This is what I teach brands. I don't teach them hacks in the ad account. I teach them principles, advertising principles that have been there before I was born, and they will be there after I'm gone. Okay, so it's about understanding what your product can do, right? What your product potentially can do, right? And then also understanding what are my potential target audiences for this product. So finally, it comes down to, who am I selling to? Who is my real target audience? And the funny thing is that in most of the cases, you have multiple potential target audiences, right? It could be, different age groups. It could be people with different conditions, right? So whatever the case may be, if you have like a, I don't know, like a skincare brand, it could be acne, it could be wrinkles, it could be dark spots, right? It's just an example, right? To showcase what I mean by that. It might be the same product, but it's different people, different angles, how I call them, to the product, okay? So your first job is to really identify what are those in general, like what are the potential audiences. And then it's about systematically testing. And this is something, that's another thing that that's essentially already the second point, is really to systematically test, to come up with hypotheses and to test these hypotheses. If you know my videos, you will see this. This is a pattern that I always pick up, right? It's always the same thing. You have to come up with hypotheses and test it. And even me, that I'm doing this for 5, 6, 7 years, like in online marketing, more than 10 years now, like even me, like I'm wrong a lot of times, right? So if I would just, let's say, sit in front of a whiteboard and say, hey, this is the angle, I know it, that's exactly what we should do, and then focus all of my efforts there, that's not how it goes, right? So I know that. I'm humble enough to understand that I don't know everything. So what I do instead is just to come up with a system and to nurture the system with hypotheses and test these hypotheses, right? So this is something that a lot of people don't talk about. They just say, "Oh, we're so genius. We came up with this idea for this angle, and then it took off." But if they would tell you what they actually did was they just tested a bunch of stuff, hopefully with the system behind that, and then they found something that clicked that they were able to replicate. Okay, so be careful with any kind of whatever the case may be, guru, and also challenge me, right? Challenge whatever I say in videos, comment under the videos, challenge what agencies are pitching you and telling you, because you are the one who has to be educated on this topic, right? Finally, it's about validating ideas, okay, and actually having data on what angle performs best. Okay, that's the angle that I'm going to choose, that I'm going to double down on. Okay, then the same thing with creative types, right? There's no one size fits all. That's my third point. You cannot just put system number one, or let's say add creative type number one, and put it onto brand number two. This is again something, unfortunately, that I see a lot with founders that come to me. They're sick and tired of this agency stuff. They burned through I don't know how many agencies, 3, 6 agencies. I've had people, they had 8 agencies, right? And it's always the same stuff that you hear, right? It's like, oh, we have this proprietary system, whatever the case may be, and we just put it on your case. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't work, they don't really care, because there's going to be another client that comes through the door, right? But you're the one that actually, over time, you lose trust in if Meta actually works, right? Because you've tried it so many times and it doesn't work. But the reality is that you need to dedicate more time towards customizing and to really understanding what is working in your case. That's why I do this with all of the clients, all of the brands. We really step by step validate stuff and see what is working in your specific case, and then go from there, right? So this is very important. Don't think in one size fits all. There is no one size fits all. What you can do though, and this is what I really always remind myself of, is to think in principles, right? To think in principles, because principles, they are outlasting us, right? They have been there before Meta, before Facebook, before online advertising, right? Advertising has been around for a while. So this is the stuff that we can use and reuse and use as a meta tool, not Meta, the Facebook Meta, but meta tool, to actually find out what's working for us. Okay, so this is how I think about it, and that's what really helped to find the right thing for each and every case, right? So this is very important. Then maybe coming back to the first thing that I said, is really do the work outside of the ad accounts, right? Don't be shy of researching. Don't be shy of actually calling customers to understand who they are and why they bought the product in the first place, to be able to recreate this communication, right? And flip it around and attract more of the same customers, right? So this is then my fourth point, is essentially also the ownership, right? And this is what I see is that's lacking in a lot of cases. There is no way, and I say that all the time, you cannot think that outsourcing the most important growth lever that you have in your e-commerce brand, you cannot honestly believe and tell me that it's going to work if you just give that responsibility away. You cannot expect that people that don't know your brand, they're not emotionally affiliated with your brand, they don't really care about your brand, You cannot expect that they are doing the best job possible when it comes to that. And I know, because I talk to founders every day, I'm a founder myself, you put your blood, sweat, and tears into your products, right? And I'm talking about real brand founders. I'm not talking about like people drop shipping, crappy products or stuff like that. They're actually drop shippers that have great product quality. I'm not saying drop shipping in general, but I'm saying like I'm not talking to the founders that are like just trying here for a quick buck and like shipping bad products and stuff like that. I'm talking to real business founders that want to grow their business and eventually sell the business or not sell the business, but just reach more people with their products. You put everything, every single ounce of intelligence in your body into this product. You have to do the same when it comes to marketing the product. I'm sorry to say that, and this is something that might be not so easy to swallow, but these two have to have the same standard. You cannot expect to have like mediocre marketing or no real marketing at all and just have a great product and people will come by themselves. Yes, there are these hero stories out there. We didn't spend a single cent on marketing and it blew up to be $100 million company. But how often does that really happen, right? So you cannot just count on being one of these cases, but you should actually take ownership of your marketing, of your performance marketing more specifically, of your paid ads marketing even more specifically. And that's the fifth point now is don't believe a lot of these myths out there, right? A lot of stuff has changed over the last couple of years, last 2-3 years, that enables us as brand founders, or you as a brand founder, to run the marketing, run the paid ads in-house with way less effort than you would be thinking that you have to put in, and to actually grow your business month by month by month by month, right? And yes, I'm not sugarcoating it. Like there is work to put in, right? This is not like you just swallow this pill and you just put on this push this button and everything is working. And you don't ever have to worry about it again. I'm not here to tell you that. It is work, yes, no doubt, but it is way easier than you think. It's way simpler than you think, right? That's what I'm here to tell you. And I want to take this fear away of, it's so complicated and you have to be this super expert that has done it for 10 years and stuff in order to understand the Facebook algorithm, blah, blah. Trust me, I can say that. I can sit here and say that because I've done it many, many times now, that I've taken people that were scared. They didn't have any idea of how to run Facebook ads. They were scared of the interface, scared of like everything around it. What happens if I increase the budget here, there, blah, 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 to actually confidently spending 10, 15, 20 grand in single days or per day without even, thinking about it, right? In the span of a couple of months. So nobody can tell me that this is so complex and so complicated. Like that's one of the big things that I make sure is that I keep things simple, because I know e-commerce especially is very complex, right? It's not a simple business model, right? In theory, maybe yes, but in practice, like there's a lot of stuff that comes with it, right? A lot of things that you have to master to actually be able to scale consistently, right? So we don't want to complicate stuff, right? We just want this machine, which is in this case Meta and Google, we just want it to work for us, right? We want it to work for us and be able to grow the business month by month by month. Now, I have very tactical videos about this. This is not the place in this video. You can check them out if you want, obviously on my channel. Make sure to go deeper, and there I go deeper in these videos, right? So that you can understand more tactical stuff. But this just to give you an overview and also to kind of like break this belief that it's so hard and it's so difficult, which I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, it's not. You just need the right system, the right strategy that is principle based. That's something, for example, that I have been working on for the last couple of years that I constantly refine. And then you need guidance, in my opinion, right? You need guidance and the ownership, right? Either it's you or it's somebody on your team. But what we also do now is we actually help founders that know they want to own the acquisition, but they don't want to go with agencies anymore, to help them find team members that actually work in their team, as part of their team, right? Not just like some kind of freelancer that works with 10 other clients, but somebody that works in their team, and train them on our principles and help them scale up this way, right? So this, for example, this is with an editor, right? With a video editor or somebody that does the creative, somebody that is the creative strategist, right? But I talk about this also in other videos. You don't need more than 2 people, honestly, on that team to scale to a million a month. Sounds crazy, I know, but I can say that because I've seen it multiple times now. Okay, and this is kind of like the goal that you should be having. Yeah, and honestly, this is really one of my main messages. Don't overcomplicate things, and actually, it's easier than you think once you've made the decision that you say, "I want this," right? I want to own the acquisition. I'm tired of this other stuff. Maybe it works a little bit, but then it stops working. I have no control over what's going on. I don't own anything, right? Not the data, not the intelligence. And there's a lot of things that come into that, right? When you think, like when your goal is, and it might be, to some extent it should be, to make your company sellable, right? This has nothing to do if you want to actually sell it, but to make it sellable and make it attractive, right? Make it a working business, right? If you think from an investor's perspective, do I want to purchase an e-commerce that has a lot of, let's say, liabilities, working with a bunch of agencies? There's no real intelligence in the company, right? So at any point, if something happens in their agency that runs these, I don't know, 200-300K per month ad spend, or the key person that manages that leaves the agency, those are all risks that fall back to me as an investor, right? So if you think about the stuff, it makes sense to actually own the stuff and invest into that, right? Because yes, you will be making mistakes as well, but you will be making them, and you will understand what happened and why it happened and how we can do it actually better the next time. So you will keep the intelligence and actually develop the intelligence, right? So yeah, but without going too deep into that, I think this is really like a good overview that shows you that it is possible, right? It is possible, and I will be posting more case studies. Actually, recently I posted one, but I will be posting more case studies so that you actually see and believe that this is possible, right? And I think, like, this is my dream, honestly, to just enable as many founders as possible that really take this serious, to own this acquisition part and grow from there, right? To never have to look back to this, oh, what do? I need an agency. I need somebody that does it for me. Because this is, for me, that would be really a dream, because there's so many great products. And I know if you're still watching, you have an amazing product and you want to get it out and you want to change people's lives, but you're stuck, right? You're stuck. And this is what really hurts, right? It hurts and it's frustrating. And that's why it's my dream to help founders with great visions, with great products, to get their message out, to acquire customers profitably, and to grow their business so that more people, like, they can impact more people's lives. That's it, right? Too many products, too many bad products that have mediocre marketing and are above you. Why is that the case, right? And that's really my goal, to just, close that gap and enable, empower founders to do that. So anyways, I hope you got value from this video. and also have more, let's say, hope, more, um, more hope that there might be a solution out there. So I'm here to tell you that there is one. Obviously, like I share a bunch of stuff on my YouTube, right? Go ahead, like watch them. Literally, I urge you to watch it. Because I share like my most valuable lessons so that you can implement them. But if you are at the point where you say, this sounds all nice, let me explore like if this really could be something for me. This is what I do in my mentoring, right? This is where I help founders really that are stuck when it comes to marketing but have a great product, um, and they're just stuck scaling, and this might be in different stages, right? We have people that just start out and they want to start out the right way. They don't want to start with the agency route and being, dragged from agency to agency. Then we have others that are, let's say, at 100, 200K, right? 300K a month, but they can't figure out how to get to a million a month. Maybe you run things in-house already. Maybe you don't. Maybe you work with an agency, but you just don't have the confidence that they can take you to a million a month in the next couple of months. So for all of these, that's where I mentor brands and I help, and founders specifically, and help them to unlock these growth potentials and actually scale the business, right? So if this is interesting to you, just click the first link in the description and book a call, and then we can see if there's a match, right? If not, that's okay. That's totally fine. But if there is one, then we will look at, how it will look like to work together, right? So that you're clear on that. But I'm here to tell you that this is a real option now, right? This is a real option, and I've seen multiple brands go to a million a month in very short time, or 500K a month, or 300K a month, whatever the goal may be, and it's always the same systems and the same processes. Okay, so would love to get to know you at some point. If not, for sure, make sure to check out the rest of my videos, and let me know what you think in the comments, any questions you have, and see you in the next one. Take care.